relative delayed manifestation that governs the universe. What that is that basically relative to the goal that you're hoping to manifest in life depends of the change that you have to go through to manifest such a powerful, let's just say. So what happens is that, let's just say, for example, the single crops harvesting, wheat, barley, whatever you name it. You plant it, 6 months, you have your harvest. So now, let's just imagine your dream is much bigger. It will take years before you flourish. Same thing in life. What is the coolest time of the day? Like we would think is like middle of the night. Actually, it's after sunrise. The delay is after, even when you see the light, you don't really experience the heat that you were hoping, am I right?
So there's a delay from initiation idea to feeling the effects of what you choose.
Exactly, the manifestation piece of it.
Richard Fortin presents, I'm not sure which number we're at, but it's a special one today in the studio, Suite 16. I've got Adam making sure we're all synced up and working here. Thank you for doing this, Adam, and continuing to support Richard Fortin Presents. And today's special guest is the one and only Haas.
Appreciate it, Richard.
Do we know you by your last name? It's Notarkesh.
You nailed it, yeah.
Haas Notarkesh is a business coach, an inspiring speaker.
Sure, Mother.
How else do you identify? I want to hear how you self-identify yourself.
Honestly, you know what though, lately, I remember when I started, I used to go with the whole thing, executive business coach and this and that and strategies, none of those bullshit. I just support individuals with their, purpose. Like, if it's business, as a business coach, if it's in their personal life, it's passion discovery, we help them. So most of my clients are like athletes, executives, and entrepreneurs. And then we do a lot of organizations with our team building. So that's a domain we work in. But again, as I would tell you that, I am a certain, business in the form of like, hey, listen, that's the title that I go with. I think, no, you never know. Maybe in 2-3 years, it will be totally different. Who knows? I'm discovering myself as I'm like literally like, unfolding this dream that is coming to reality, if it makes sense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just shortened it. Yeah.
But we're seekers. I think you and I know each other well enough at this point that we know that we're into philosophy and ideas and spiritual leaders and business leaders, and watching how we engage in society is something that we actively pursue. I mean, you study this stuff. I know you're a lover of Rumi. Maybe you could talk to me about how your quest as a spiritual seeker has informed even what you offer as services.
Fair. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, to be honest with you, you said it very well. Like, as someone who is out there to help, let's just say, individuals who are like-minded, I think the first principle, at least in my personal philosophy, has been the fact that, being so open to learn from any synchronicities, any omens, anything that could speak to your soul. So I will get to the seeker part. What has been the case is that I notice when I'm dialed in, then I'll pick up the signal very quickly, intuitively. I don't have to really stay in a rigid routine to make sure that this roadmap is followed as it's supposed to. I noticed the fact that best case scenario, I don't know shit. Because what happened is that, out of everything that is happening, so we can only best case scenario know 1% of everything that is unfolding in our lives. So 99% in any case is unknown. So it's kind of your choice.
There's so many unknowns compared to what we know, is what you're saying. And the scale is infinite. Like, it's like there's so many infinite unknowns compared to the little bit our experience allows us to. Yeah. You
nailed it. Exactly. Peterson compares it. Dr. Peterson, he says, it could be you're in a small island in the middle of the ocean. That's how much you know. The entire ocean is how much you don't know. And everything is working though. It's not a chaos in the form of like knowing it and not knowing it. It's a chaos to you from observer of that you're seeking the knowingness. But otherwise, it's working just fine. Like, your digestion system, your nervous system, your everything that's within
happening naturally without conscious attention to it.
Exactly. So same principle could apply in our personal life, in our business life, in our relationship, in our spiritual seeking and our artistic soul. That again, the path to your full potential is embracing that unknowingness about everything. So, and again, what I mean by that is the only way that you could be embracing that level of unknownness and being sane is to trust the fact that, you know what, you have known enough about yourself that you don't have to keep seeking some sort of a self-approval project to tell yourself that, oh, I did it. It's a self-approval. It's like, evaluation kind of things. Because you know the fact that, you know what, I will be guided to where I belong. And again, this takes quite a bit of soul searching, because again, in a society where we're born and raised, domestication is heavily imposed on us, and we're defined based on our, again, task completion. So again, as I said, my clients are entrepreneurs, executives, and athletes. So these individuals, and there are individuals who are somewhat known to put their self-loving and self-caring attributes on hold for quite a long time to reach a certain goal that is demanded from them. As athletes who, like, we have some clients that are Olympic gold medalists, no joke. So like entrepreneurs that are millions of dollars of revenue or even sales, profit, one of them a month he has. So some of these what they call executives are top level organizations, healthcare organizations. So they are high achievers, but again, they reached to that level because they were able to really put their what they call it self-satisfying desires on hold for the sake of bigger goals. But often this kind of attitude will lead you to a path that at one point you don't realize, what was that all for? What was that all about? So sure, I got a gold medal now. What's next? And that's why when you see a documentary by Michael Phillips, it's mind-blowing that these athletes who commit suicide and these individuals who are like high achievers, are role models, and they don't really feel like truly the life that is unfolding before their eyes. Same thing with, again, these entrepreneurs, some of them that are high level. Again, one of them, he made $1.3 million a month. When we got into the collaboration opportunity, at one point said, I don't even know why we're doing what we're doing and what could we really be doing with the domain that we have been building. And those are despair. Those are the value of despair. Those are the value of like you don't even know that you betrayed yourself at what cost for what, and then what will be next kind of thing. So, and you can see that, am I right? This is like something you're familiar with, you're an artist yourself. So you are really in touch with these individuals who have kind of realized this part of their journey, and now they're embracing that, again, unknowingness of what's coming, how I will react to it. It will really speak to my soul, right? And what's expected. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think, that's what it comes down to when it comes to seeking peace. That my seeking peace, honest to God, obviously I'm definitely blessed with many things that have been unfolding in my life in the last, I would say, easily 2 decades. And I think, now with the book being completed and being published in a few weeks, and with the public speaking, it's like, as a keynote speaker, it's mind-blowingly satisfying, nerve-wracking. Every time it's nerve-wracking, no matter what I'm talking about, to whose audience, every time is nerve-wracking. But definitely, the day, I mean, the hour that the talk is over, after the whole post-talk, what do you call it, gathering that we do with whoever that we're doing the presentation, the sensation of ecstasy is mind-blowing. Or when I do business coaching with all of these entrepreneurs, when the KPIs comes in and their growth and progressive, we all cry together. You've been there. We cry together. Like, we receive, what do you call it? Achieve the goals. It's just mind-blowingly beautiful. It's romantic. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you want to write a book?
So what happened was that, so our proprietary process in our coaching is called passion discovery. So what we realize is that after the program, which is 6 sessions, 60 minutes each. So after the program, most of our clients, they sign up for monthly calls, or if it's in person, monthly sessions that they come in. And I realized the fact that though there is a different, commonality within these individuals and their goals and this program that could be really captured as a content under a book form. That is like, this one has 7 chapters, and so it basically walk you through the whole thing. So it is a very powerful tool to help you to kind of stay in touch with your discoveries that you kind of unravel through the program, so you can see and feel it. Because sometimes when you tap into that level of potentiality within you, you're unstoppable. Like, you're unstoppable. You take on challenges that you never thought it was even possible to dream of. Never mind, now you're doing it. So the book is actually handy because, you're reviewing it, and then, you realize that's where I am. It gives you that level of certainty of your journey and your path and your synchronicities. Because again, it's a little bit of a, mind twisting concept.
Okay.
When you're letting it all go, and then you're not identifying yourself with anything that you have known in past. So there is this wandering desert, like Moses, 40 years, and depends of so there's this thing that I believe is called relative delayed manifestation that governs the universe.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to me about this.
So what that is that basically, relative to the goal that you're hoping to manifest in life, or a dream that you're hoping to manifest in life, depends of the change that you have to go through to manifest such a powerful, let's just say.
In order to even hold the vibration, if you think of it in that language, like in order to achieve a certain vibration, you need to transform into that. Mm-hmm. And so...
Exactly. And that frequency of that new transformation will attract that new reality.
Exactly.
So what happens is that, let's just say, for example, the single crops, harvesting, wheat, barley, whatever you name it. All right. So you plant it, 6 months, you have your harvest. Cool. So now let's just say, imagine your dream is much bigger. It will take years before you flourish. All right. So let's just say pistachio or black walnut, whatever that is. These are fancy crops. That's 5 to 7 years it takes before even you notice if you even have a product or not. All right. Same thing in life, that anything you want to do, and again, in for example, what is the coolest time of the day? Like, what we think is like middle of the night, is something like that.
Right before morning, right
exactly.
before the sun.
It's actually after sunrise. Because by the time even you have the light, the heat hasn't really heat up the whole thing, like, like where you are. Mm-hmm. The delay is after, even when you see the light, you don't really experience the heat that you were hoping, am I right? Same thing with like the hottest time of the hottest day of the year.
The hottest.
It's
hottest. Not when the sun's at its peak.
No,
it's
no.
After.
Exactly. So you think you will be the longest. Exactly.
So there's a delay from initiation, idea, innovation to actually being able, like, feeling the effects of what you choose.
Exactly, the manifestation piece of it.
So the longer that delay, the more, hard it is. Not hard.
The bigger wave is coming at you.
Wave, yeah, exactly.
So again, imagine, like, for example, you could again plant wheat or barley, whatever that you're doing, or just do walnut. Like, come on, like, again, and then the beauty of it, the marketplace or Mother Nature or marketplace would reward your masterpiece proportionate to the authenticity of the product you're presenting to the marketplace. All right. That's how it is. So when you look at it, is that every product out there, from like naturally to all the way to product that is like actual man-made product, tangible or intangible, they are being rewarded to level of authenticity that they bring to the marketplace. So this relative delayed manifestation, same thing as well. Look at your product. What novelty are you bringing to the marketplace, and see what you're hoping to achieve. The relative part is that relative to the manifestation, how large you're trying to manifest, the gain you will gain. Elon, he came to SpaceX, 10 years of hardworking, like, what do you call it, exploration in a true meaning. Of course, he's gonna have a jackpot. Same thing with Neuralink, something with what do you call it, with Tesla, same thing with everything else that he's doing, because he goes for extreme of unknown, extreme novelty. And then because his personality trait, he has his conscientiousness and his creativity. They're both super high. So in personality traits, when you have either of them high, you're somewhat super successful. He has both high. And then imagine what he's creating. So everything else in life happens the same thing as well. So when I said wandering, Moses wandering a desert, is that the change they brought, the Israelite, the change they brought to the nation, free the slavery in Egypt, and then 2,500 years ago, that thing is still going, and that thing is still viable in many concepts. Am I right? So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the change we're hoping to manifest, it depends of the scale,
so
it will be delayed.
Exactly.
So that is like the biohack we use for our entrepreneurs to manifest the dream into reality and stay sane along the way. Because again, it's all about how much faith you have in your product or services, which is a reflection of how much faith you have in you. So when you kind of can gear that, then you can leverage from it. Then you're unstoppable. All right, because that's having that's the benefit of having someone along your side and not being biased towards your product, because you can see blind spot, you can see how fast you're going, and you can see your progress for what it is objectively, rather than you on your own. Because entrepreneurship, just like any other path of creativity, is lonely. Like I had a local business owner, he was over and he said, I closed my business down just because, man, it's just lonely, because when it gets tough, who you want to talk to? You go home, you want to talk to your wife, and again, you make her worry. And then, same thing as female entrepreneurs, when, they talk to their husband or their partner, same thing as well. You put the responsibility on them to figure it out. Now they're both worried. Meanwhile, they should take that time to rejuvenate, go back and go hard at it. Same thing with your family, your buddies, it's lonely. It's just tough. That's why employment is super addictive, And again,
working for somebody else, doing something where you just check off the boxes.
Yeah, and then you get the reward, because who are we fucking kidding? Like, we get a lot of satisfaction through 6 needs. The first one is certainty. Second one is uncertainty. Third one is significance. Fourth one is love and connection. Fifth one is growth, and sixth one is contribution. Employment checks all the boxes. You get certainty because you have a job tomorrow when you go. You have enough uncertainty because you report to someone. No matter what, you have a boss. Even you are Elon, you will have some sort of stakeholder or someone that you have to report to, right? Elon's a little bit of a, an anomaly here, though. Significance is that based on your achievements and recognition you get off of that things, you get significance from your colleagues, your boss, whoever you report to, your stakeholders. The fourth one, love and connection, is big. Imagine you walk into the office, you walk into, like some sort of organization, you belong to a brand. It's powerful. That's a culture that everybody capitalizes on, right? Like when you go to Mercedes factory in Bremen, it's one of the largest one in the world. It's a whole freaking city. They have hospital in the factory 24/7. Like, you belong to that cult, that tribe, that community, whatever you want to call it. And then the fifth one, growth, you grow with that company. So anyway, and the sixth one's contribution is huge based on the product you guys delivering is huge. So what I'm trying to say is that as an entrepreneur, how many of these do you have, especially right off the bat? And again, that's why 96% of all businesses in North America fail within the first fucking 5 years. 96%, big, because of you don't have these components. So again, for whoever's listening to this podcast, if you're out there and you're thinking of, again, entrepreneurial journey, think about definitely, having someone along the way as your community. Whoever that is, if you have an entrepreneur buddy, you can relate to that. Am I right, Richard?
Yeah.
You're an
You need a
entrepreneur
community.
yourself.
Yeah. And I think in any walk of life, your community affects you a lot more. Your environment I'm a believer that the environment affects us so much more than we realize, because so much is unconscious in what we do every day, the way we eat, and I'm not saying everybody's unconscious about the way they eat, but I'm just saying that, if certain things are around you all the time, you're going to do them. And so,
Your personal reality create
So,
your personality.
right. So I think you can choose very deliberately who you become by choosing who you spend time with. And
100%, yeah.
even online now today, you can spend time with anybody. Anybody who's putting themselves out there, you can choose what to watch. You can turn your feed into micro learning. It doesn't just have to be negative, or, so again, it becomes a big reflection of what you're seeking, which brings us back to the beginning, which is seeking these bigger answers to the bigger questions in life, or the deeper questions in life.
Yeah.
That's something you've probably done your whole life. Were you a teenager who was always questioning and debating or wondering, or what's your personal path? What's your path that brought you to be in this position where you want to impart this wisdom,
Honestly, I think, based on the position, the time that I was born to, I said in my book as well, I think, I was definitely attention seeker. Like extremely. I think all kids can be extremely. And because, I had few fans, like, very respectful individuals in our family, that they were my fan, my uncle and my dad, and, some other individuals around. So, unknowingly, you think you got some sort of a talent, even you were as dumb as fuck, probably. But I was definitely an attention seeker at all costs. And, that kind of burst the bubble when I went to school, because, I would say that academically I was somewhat okay, but not extremely good. But when it came to athleticism, I think that's how I kind of find my groove. But I think that was it. So I carried the same momentum, Rich, for maybe 3 decades until I was 27, 28. I want to have this typical domestication, dream wish list, nice house, nice car, good partying, dating, that kind of stuff, and traveling. So you think that is it. We'll all aim for that kind of things because we think that will be the playground to really, live the life. And then if it happens, and then I think in my version, that kind of happened, that I kind of experienced what I thought it would be it, and I couldn't really feel it. It was definitely a big blow. Mm-hmm. It was something that you didn't know where to turn, because it was tough. Because often,
So you've been there in the unknown.
Well, to be honest with you, that was a different unknown. That was despair. So what happened is that, again, not acting as a big shot, but again, there was enough to realize that, this is it. You don't have to eat the whole cow to know what it tastes like. So I would come to my place, and I had a decent sized house, and, and then it was empty, and, it was not cool. Not cool. And then again, when you were partying, you could fit a lot of people. That was fun. But again, that was twice a month or whatever. The rest of the time you're by yourself. So my buddies, and again, at that point, I was, somewhat super successful in my career in that level that I was. I'm a former corporate executive in the healthcare division and retirement living. So I was doing really good, especially with my leadership style and whatever. I'm 27, 28 at a time. And so I wasn't someone that was not really engaged when it came to my, professional career. But anyway, man, to be more included, I got a penthouse, sunrise to sunset, high ceiling. I got it all decked out, nicely designed. You've seen my style at the office. So, It's just, and again, not that I'm proud of, but as a kid, you didn't know better. Like, that is something that you're attracting because of your vibration, Yeah, we have Playboy magazine, came in with their models to shoot a scene there. That was pretty cool, like seeing what's going on. Like, as a kid, you see these things around, but it's different when you're literally seeing it, that kind of stuff there. And, you think that will make a young man happy based on what's happening and all of those things, out of decent car, decent title, and again, somewhat educated, jacked and all of those things. So compulsive dating, you would think it was a remedy to all the pain. You've been there yourself, Rich. I know you can definitely resemble with the entire picture that I'm painting here. But no, man, it's just after a little while, it just get boring. And then now you don't have enough uncertainty that will give you the satisfaction of like living the dream anymore, because one way or another, even drugs, even many other partying and whatever, it doesn't really feel the same. Because what happened, any stimulus at one point that will come to your consciousness, your reaction to it is heavily depends of the need that you were craving to begin with. Fair enough?
Yeah.
After a little while, the first line feels pretty good. By the time your fourth line, it just is numb. You're even doing it to keep up with the same momentum you had it. The same thing happened in significant seeking in life. When you're in your significant seeking phase of your life, you keep striving for this new high. But at some point, you just run out of new options. So anyway, that was happening to me. So the despair was growing bad every day kind of thing. So I was denying it with whatever you name it. But anyway, after a while, you couldn't deny it. So one evening, I was looking out the beautiful view from the place, and then I said, what if I ended with one last fucking fly off the balcony? And as soon as it just crossed my mind, and I go, holy shit, it's gone too far.
You got to find a way back to...
Close
so
it.
did you turn inside? Because those are all outside stimulus, outside approval, outside, cars.
Exactly, significant seeking. In any channel you use. Exactly. So what happened, that's what I'm saying, that as soon as that happened, so I closed the door and quit my job. I traveled almost for 2 years, soul seeking. So that's what I'm saying. But I didn't know what I was looking for, Rich. It's not something I would say, whoa, dude, I knew exactly what to do as soon as that happens. No, I didn't know where to turn. I hadn't been back home for 8 years at a time. I went back for the first time, see the family again, that kind of stuff. And I had a good connection with all of my family members. So they're all beautiful and lovely, supporting. But again, eventually though, when you put yourself on that path of unknown, again, quitting the job I was identifying with, my executive role, I was like, that's me. That was how I was satisfied in life achievements, leave everything behind. So anyway, I met a lot of gurus. Yeah, literally, but again, not knowing it, not knowing what are you in for, excuse me, not knowing what are you in for, it was nerve-wracking for me. So what I did, I started studying Judaism, because I said, you know what, these religious people are super happy. What's up? There must be something in there. So I studied Judaism, I'm telling you, studying it, and I lived like an Orthodox Jew for 6 months, Shabbos, whole thing. I'm not even joking, whole thing. I dove into it. Now, pick up the book and read it. No, I lived it. Yeah. And to the whole thing, hanging out at the place in Toronto, that they're all so very cool, very fulfilling. And then I got into Christianity and then Islam and Buddhism,
You went and explored all the different paths.
Yeah, you've been there.
The greats.
So, yeah, you want to know what it's all about. These individuals, that who have chose to be in this path, they have experienced a level of fulfillment that is beyond any significant seeking of cars and title and education, whatever. Am I right? So you want to know what it is. So simultaneously, I got into neuroscience and then psychology. Then I got to the fact, okay, you know what? These are all somehow connected. Then I dove into the quantum physics and say, what is this underlying world of everything? That's how it happened. So I devoted all my time and energy into that. Again, I met a lot of gurus, coaches, spiritual teachers, and, all of these cool people. And I hang around with them in my own way. And then I realized the fact, you know what, man, if you truly would become the person who could choose to live a life as if you could die tomorrow, you will live a dream life. I made that my motto. I said, I'm going to live my life as if I'm going to die tomorrow. So when I got back, I just said the same thing. So obviously I was almost broke just because of all the spending and everything else. But I got back on my feet and it was tight. It was just, I think you videoed our bio a couple of years ago. So you know this story. I'm not going to get into that. But what I'm saying is though, then obviously, I got to the point that I'm going to live my waterfront lifestyle. I'm going to be in a city that, I can actually heavily invest in that community to build it up in my own, through my, to the degree of contribution I can do, obviously, am I right? And at least I can, feel the fact that we're just a little more connected than just a mega city. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, a small city like North Bay, you can also have an impact, right?
Yeah.
Like you can be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. Like it's just a different market.
More
it's
intimate,
more intimate. You get to know people. The lifestyle, people who choose to live here. Choose to live here, and people who choose to live in a metropolitan center choose that, and there are different reasons for that, different values. So you get to experience that, and you chose that consciously to move to North Bay on the waterfront.
We're
connected
so lucky,
to nature.
So lucky, so lucky. And again, it's funny because I met my fiance Sully. I'm sure you know her. So while I was doing that soul search in Germany, and it's funny, so she was traveling back and forth and all of those things because of the law difference. She studied law, so she couldn't practice here. So it was quite a lot of a change if she would have decided to come to Canada and whatever. So anyway, but so I think it was the first year or two afterwards that I got my place up in here. I still have my place in Toronto, so we travel on weekend. Anyway, I was we're so proud of our Canadian culture. We're so cool. We're so nice. We are it. If there would be a tribe in the world that could be it and represent the earth for aliens, would be fucking Canadian. Oh, bro. Like that's I truly believe the case is. Yeah. Not that I'm saying, other nation. I just truly believe I'm biased towards it. Yeah. And I travel quite a bit. That every time I truly, put up the beautiful presentation of a typical Canadian, how could it be? Everybody just loving it. Yeah. Just love it. And again, we are a nation of beautiful cultures from all over the world.
Yes.
That makes it even more mighty. Mm-hmm. So to me, again, I love every culture out there, but I think every culture has contributed to our very powerful culture.
And you chose to leave where most new Canadians settle to come to a more rural lifestyle.
I truly embrace it. I truly embrace it. I love it. So anyway, I was telling Sully all about it. Yes. And again, she hasn't really experienced it because in Toronto, you know how it is. Independence, I'm from Richmond Hill area, Thornhill area. We love it. That's my hood. I still travel quite a bit there. I have quite a bit of friends and, very close confidence there. But anyway, but again, it's so hard to experience Canadian culture in a way that we experience it in North Bay, obviously. So what happened is that, when we had the place and I said, listen, but though this nation has a lot to offer. It's just, you have to just be there to experience it. So when we got the place, we knew it was majestic in many ways. We didn't know it has such a beautiful sunset. Apparently there was 20 years ago, in 2010, it won one of the best sunset award in the world. Something like that, man. It's crazy.
It's a huge lake. Yeah. And you're looking west.
It's crazy. With the islands, everything else. It's just mind blowing. And so anyway, we're stepping out, we're in awe of the sunset. And then our neighbors walk up to us with this beautiful vintage French wine and celebrating our welcome into our neighborhood. And I go, what did I tell you, Sylvie? And I'm so proud of everything else that's happening. And again, the other neighbors walk up to us with the melted chocolate marshmallow. Let's celebrate this thing over the fire pit, you name it. So the whole scene is as if it was hidden camera or some sort of a setup.
But it was just
Sully was blown away, and I go, thank God, because you never know, all right?
Totally.
So man. So that's been our life for the last 8 years here. Yeah. So it was. So what I'm trying to say is that soul searching led to a path of unknown. Am I right? Again, you know what? I just knew that's not serving my life anymore. Yeah. I knew that, hey, listen, there must be more to this life that I don't know. So. Yeah. by the time I got back, so one of the thing was live your life as if you're gonna die tomorrow. So passion discovery was born then, because I said if I feel like
You got to find that, seek it, and you're going to create systems for yourself. I'd like to share those systems with other people to help.
exactly, because if technically all my buddies who were at the time in the 40s, they said, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, what are you talking about? Like, just find the right person, live a life. And again, I met a lot of cool people and right partners at the time, but again, just didn't work out because within me wasn't connecting. Am I right? But I said, if I'm feeling like that, God knows how many other people are feeling the same way as well. And perhaps they want to hear from someone like me who have gone through it. So then I teamed up with like a couple of cool people, like psychiatrists, psychologists, like coaches and whatever you name it, like to see what it looked like if it were a program kind of thing. So anyway, that's how I was born. So
Beautiful.
yeah, and that's been my life since then. And honestly, like I have clients who are like from 15 we take on, and I have a client who she's 79 years old.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
It's great, and we learn from these individuals every
For
single
sure.
day, man. It's mind-blowingly fulfilling.
Where do you see yourself in 2 years? What do you see the perfect evolution of what you're doing now going? Or do you have that, or do you care? Or do you just put one foot in front of the other?
Honestly, one breath at a time is the motto. You're right. Just one breath at a time. Just, trying to stay as, dialed in as possible through the path of the resistance of ego disillusion. That's the subtitle of the book. And I think what it is that through the book, so a book when it was almost completed 2 years ago, when I spoke with those subject matter experts, like top-notch coaches from England, from Boston, like top-notch. I put all my life saving on this thing, am I right? So we realized the fact that I'm obsessed with consciousness. I'm sure you know by now. And so what happens is though I've devoted, now we're hiring more coaches. They're taking on more of my load kind of things. And then so I'm just devoting my time and energy just for that. Consciousness, how we could really somehow expand the domain of what do you call it? Consciousness in form of how we all individually could somehow be inspired by it and not thinking this unknown energy or field is running the show and we have no fucking clue what it is. That's because right now the theme out there, I'm right. I don't know. Nobody knows what is consciousness. We have ideas, but we have no idea. So I thought that I like that. That is highest level unknown right now. So I want to go for that.
So exploring your own consciousness.
Basically, well,
Because
to be
the
honest,
only part you can explore is your own, no? Isn't consciousness like you can't explore my consciousness?
I think we're all
Or
one
can
though,
you?
huh? Like you and I were same, am I right? So we are being
But the only
expressed through-
window into you I can have
within you, through you.
is through my own being,
Yeah.
my own knowingness, my own consciousness, my own facilities.
I love it how you're saying it, and I like it
So
where
I think that's what's interesting is that consciousness, we're all experiencing it, but there's so much more. We're all part of one amazing, we're all looking at the same full moon this morning at 5 a.m. if
did
we
you see
were up
that?
and lucky enough to see it. Oh, right where you're living. Wasn't it incredible? I actually drove out there, and now that I think about it, I was next to you at the beach there because
He was
the
right
full
over the
moon was
island,
just
just like that. I
incredible.
was just looking
and
at it. It
you
was
can't
big.
look at that massive moon over the lake
Yeah.
this morning and not think, wow, and the seagulls are flying and the birds, and there's so much, like you said, happening that we aren't conscious of that is just happening. Yet I can apply my consciousness to those birds, that sun, the moon, the light, and experience a certain way that I choose. So we do have the ability to either concentrate or not
100%.
on these things.
100%. So I think, going back to your comment, exactly, like my perception of you is reflection of me. Am I right? So that's what it comes down to. So when you're talking about consciousness and diving deep into, such a, what do you call it, profound subject, that's the only way to understand it, because even when you are looking outside, you're just seeing what's inside. So why not just get rid of the reflection, get in 100%. But also what I've noticed is the fact that it's like playing the instrument. So you could jam your beautiful guitar or piano, whatever, you go at it and you nail the melodies and whatever. But when you bring it together as a symphony, you discover something new about your own instrument. So I've noticed now, with getting more in touch with those individuals who have obsessively like devoted the time and energy to this thing, is that passion will help you to tune your instrument. So when you dive inwardly, you actually can tap into, like, you know, a level of unknown that you perhaps didn't know even that exists.
You could give yourself permission even to just create the space to have an experience that you didn't know could be possible because you're open.
Yeah, you're inspired by other people's experience as well.
Yeah.
That, hey, listen, you know what, because you know, we're all, it's not like you know it, and you said it very well, individuality is there, but we're all contributing to that collective consciousness as a whole. So when you take on a self-improvement journey, you're not just helping you're helping everybody else. That's literally the case.
It's actually the only thing you can do, I think,
Exactly.
to help anybody else
100%.
is to help
you.
yourself heal or
100%. 100%. Yeah, because again, at the end of the day, again, you know, your perception of reality, reflection of you. If you think life sucks and if you think that society is out there to get you, you got to look within, my man. Like, you know,
we're both in heaven and hell.
Literally, you know, it's up to you. What do you want to choose to be? Like, you know, because at the end of the day, so if go back to, I don't know, 5 billion years ago, and then, you know, when the first photons hit the earth, let's just say, and that's happened, like, you know, so the electromagnetic wave, like, which is light, you know, it hits the earth, and then after a little while, you know, with all oxygen and all the, you know, what you call hydrogen mixed up, and it creates this, you know, living beings called bioelectromagnetic field, which is our consciousness, as in, you know, in the form that we are experiencing our awareness. So now these fields have been just evolving through eons to be what it is right now. So whatever that you see out there is true reflection of you. The only way you could see furthermore, you have to just optimize the field within you, which is experiencing the reality as it is. And it's just like any other field. The only way, electromagnetic field, the only way to optimize this field at the magnitude of the frequency is through running the current energy, like electricity, through the middle of the coil. This is basic physics, am I right? But you're doing that. Guess what? You give birth.
Magnetizes.
Exactly. You give birth to a high level of frequency that you could never achieve by just being stagnated and not letting, because you have to do, and that's the work, that's the meditation you do. So meditation, yoga. So again, in the book, we talk about that quite a bit, that it's just integrated body-mind training. Integrated body-mind training. You do that, you master it, you combine it with a few other biohacks like a cold plunging and fasting. Boom, man. Look, you're unstoppable. Yeah.
Because your Buddha nature is bliss. Like, that's life.
You nail it. Yeah. The word, your Buddha nature or Christ within, like, it depends.
Whatever language. All language is an illusion.
They have.
We're getting there. We're
they have, because they talk about the same state.
Bliss.
Exactly.
The state of being.
Exactly.
Your natural state of being.
Exactly. Buddha nature, Christ within, and then again, oneness with consciousness, whatever you want to call it. But that is state. Exactly. Yeah. Allah. Yeah. Again. Shalom. So Judaism is basically when we're talking about the fact that, you know, actually, to respect all the Jewish fellows, you cannot say the word of God in Judaism to say it in a word. You just can just
dance around it, because it can't be limited to a word.
You just don't. There's philosophy around it. It's very interesting how it is. And anyway, so like same thing with Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, and then Hinduism, and all of these powerful spiritualities, you know, culture, that they are talking about the same thing you and I were talking about, this Buddha nature, Christ within, and again, the true enlightenment and the love, the beloved. These are Rumi's language, like he used this kind of language, but 100%. You know what? Just to wrapping up this spirituality, and biohack and consciousness and evolution. Honestly, when we're talking about like how someone could, tune this powerful engine of the field of bioelectromagnetic field of themselves as the consciousness to reach the impossible, it's not as difficult as everybody think it is. It's very simple. It's just the difficulty is having the belief into the purpose of you doing it. It's literally, and now working with these top-notch athletes, executives, and entrepreneurs, their rituals, it's not like a biohack that is like not accessible to all.
It's accessible. The wisdom's everywhere. The wisdom's everywhere. If you're seeking, you will find the answer.
Yeah.
But then you got to be it. You have to practice it, 100%, believe it, do it, repeat.
We were having this chat with someone, and I said, listen, there are a lot of great practices out there, but there are some practices out there that have been around forever. So, like in Islam, they have this practice of you got to do rituals, right, every day. Regardless of the name, just adopt the ritual. You will become unstoppable.
Yeah. So the discipline sets you free.
You have to wake up before sunrise. You meditate. You gotta do meditation like at noon.
You're paying attention. You're paying attention.
So 100%, but meditating. So you are praying. So before sunrise, you get up and do it. And then after the noon, which is like 1 o'clock or whatever, the highest points of the sun is reached the sky. Then before, when right on the sunset, and then you pray, and again, you meditate, and then you don't have to eat and drink on certain things. And then you do that. You combine with now yoga, which is integrated body mind training, and then you combine that with a little bit of a fasting and cold plunging. You're unstoppable. In 3 months, not only that you will achieve a lot of things you have never achieved in your life because you're not the same person. Just do that. Just again, practice even one of them at a time. Give yourself
the chance to experiment.
Literally.
And just listen to the wisdom and do the practice as opposed to like think.
And the first thing you're going to achieve is not more money. It's self-love.
Yeah. Well, what's money good for if you don't have self-love?
Yeah, and you don't even know the utility of it to spend it.
We all
exactly.
Know,
yeah. Self-love. You do these rituals is just a matter of what is the meaning of word meditation? To become familiar with. So when you do that, you become familiar with you, the love within you. So you do that. It's just, again, you're going to take on a new path. You could do a lot of cool stuff.
Haas, that's amazing. If people love what you're talking about right now, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who do, and they want to work with you, maybe learn more about your programs, where do we find you? Where do we follow you? Obviously, we can't stop this conversation. I mean, we're going to be talking about this probably for the rest of our lives, but for this podcast, we're gonna wrap it up soon. So I want to make sure people who are interested in what you're sharing and want to tap into your vibration and work with you, where do they do that?
How do they do businesses, so for entrepreneurs, so it's called hiddenpotential.ca. We have a local team in place. Paul Meyer's team did an amazing job with Tristan at Clark Marketing. They did a great job on this one. So it's hiddenpotential.ca. That's our the business program that we have. And then for the corporate team building one that we do in larger scale, it's called zenteambuilding.com. And then for our passion discovery is passiondiscovery.ca. But again, the whole thing could be found on our website, which is my first and last name.com.
Notarkesh.com. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, go check that out. Check out Haas. You're on all the social media too, right?
Yeah, I know. We're lucky. We have a marketing specialist. She's a local talent, and she's done a great job on promoting our services.
And the next thing we're going to be promoting is this book coming out very, very soon. So people, look out for that. You're going to be seeing Haas promoting his new book and sharing the wisdom that he obviously is embodying and bringing to our community. I mean, I'm really grateful for what you've done in terms of offer a lens to me about the community I live in, North Bay, from somebody who's chosen to live here. We've had some great conversations, and you've really inspired me to look at things from a different lens. And what bigger compliment than for you to realize that you're helping people, whether an artist is doing it through their painting or their work, or we're trying to do it through sharing some wisdom and ideas. I think it's the ultimate compliment to be affected by somebody. And you wouldn't believe how many times I quote you with that. Yeah, your reflection, the way you perceive me is a reflection of you. And I do give you credit for that idea because it's an interesting one.
I appreciate what you're doing, Richard. I think, there's a reason that you have the best podcast in the region, my man. It's not even the city, the region, Richard Fortin.
I'm having fun. It's a great way to get to know people and have the chance to ask questions that usually we don't take time, to ask. But if we listen, all the wisdom is there. And all the people that need to help us, if we know how to ask, can show up.
Yeah.
But it might not look, that delay we started the conversation, might not look like what we expect right away.
True.
But when we look back, boy, that's what it comes down to. We're doing it, This podcast was an idea a few years ago. Now it's happening. And it's going to keep evolving. That's the beauty. So thanks for being part of the journey.
Of course.
Helping me along.
Of course, Richard. And I think, what, though, you and I would talk about it in past. I think, hosting a podcast is one thing because that's not like an instrument. So it's like social media, newsletter, book, whatever you name it, movie. But I think the person who's hosting it is make the podcast. You do a very good job with studying your guests, knowing what they're all about, and then you'd spend time before the actual session to really draw a lot of wisdom from what could be coming out of this session. And I think that makes it very interesting. That's what makes us to watch it, because again, you put a lot of effort to it. It's not just a casual really conversation. Fun. Yeah.
It's Adam really who says, Richard.
That's right.
He's the boss.
He's about to be out of space and die.
Oh.
That's about to die, yes.
We killed it. We killed the show. We did it. Awesome. The equipment. We took the equipment to the max. No other way. Thank you so much. Richard. Everybody, check out Richard Fortin Presents on all the channels. Check out Haas Notarkesh on all the channels. Adam, thank you. Talk to you soon. Adam, love you guys.
Yeah. Love you all.
Thanks, Haas.
Yeah.
Bye.